I'm Andy Agostini, an associate producer on the NHL game in EA Canada. So NHL 13 and 14, with 14, when we started the process of building the game, we sat down and said, what makes a fun hockey game? And we came up with three things. So we kind of came up with a triangle. And that's aggression, which is your physical abilities and everything that's physical about the sport of hockey, speed and skill. Obviously, you notice speed, and that's general hockey. Hockey, the players are all skating around 35 kilometers an hour. So what we did was we worked on our true performance skating engine from last year to make it so that it has another layer of the ability of turning and moving left and right as a defender to help make the game more balanced between offense and defense. We also, for aggression, focused on two things. We have the NHL collision physics, which is the ability for a person to hit someone and actually knock them down and make it so that the hits are more what you would expect every time you hit a person. In 13, the engine was really good, but it had some issues when you hit a person. It didn't always do what you expected compared to the speed that you were hitting them at. Also, the fighting engine is new, the Enforcer engine. That is a change from the old fighting engine, which was from NHL10, which took you out of the game and actually made it a one-on-one experience versus the other fighter. Now you actually see it on the ice, similar to what you'd see on TV, but you get all that same interaction of the ability to tug a person and fight and move and dodge left and right. So it feels more like what you're seeing on TV in that fighting experience. As well, we use the Fight Night technology to actually allow us to have players of different sizes fight, and that way it looks right when a big player like 6'5", he fights a guy that's only 5'8". There's a big difference, but they should still be able to connect on their punches. And then for skill, we added the one-touch deeks. Make it a simplistic way for a user to try and get out of the way of the big hits that are coming. So the balance is to make speed, aggression, and skill work together so that one doesn't overpower all the other ones. Fighting has been in hockey a long time. And I'm from Canada. I've watched hockey since I was like 3 years old. It is part of the hockey game in general, how it's played. And as we follow Canadian hockey, we do know in Europe there are fights. Everyone says there aren't, but there are players that fight in Europe too. I think the biggest thing is that fighting isn't just done because you want to. It's always done in reaction to something. So if I'm a big player and I hit a star player on the other team, that star player probably won't protect himself. He won't get up and fight back. Some do, but most are skill players and they don't really fight back. Somebody else will come and protect him, and that's where the fight happens. So it's not about just walking around and grabbing a guy and starting to throw punches at him. It's more about kind of like a code. There's a way that hockey players should act, and if you go outside of that code, someone on the other team will go and protect their teammate. So it's I call it controlled chaos. They know what the rules are. They know that if they break that rule, there's a chance that they're going to have to get into a fight to protect themselves. So what we're trying to bring out is that realism, in the sense that it's not fighting just because it's fun. Sure, it's fun to fight once you're in the fight, but it shouldn't happen just because you want it to happen. And that's why we really rework the engine to make it more realistic, in that it follows what the code of conduct is in hockey. I think it matters. I think people are aware of the players that are chosen. For us, we did a cover vote. We had like over 20 million votes. It's very successful, as people want to have a say in who's going to be on that cover. And for us, we had Martin Brodeur, who's a legend. He's been in the league for 20 years. He has won 3 Stanley Cups. He's won Olympic gold medal. He's one of the best goalies ever to play the game, probably the best. And for him to get voted into the cover shows a sort of respect, because it's not just us choosing, but the fans voted him in. So they had a choice of over 60 guys. There were 60 guys in the cover vote to begin with, and they chose him because obviously there was some connection to the fans for him to win. And I think that's important as as we move forward and everyone is more into social media and that expansion of involving the consumer. This is a great way for the consumer to get involved in our product. Well, because we put it in the context of hockey, I think it works better. I don't think the NHL would totally like a game that's only NHL beat 'em up, but I think what we've tried to do with the product and with the fighting in general, that once you get into that fight, it's a fun experience for the user to play. I mean, these men that do fight in hockey, it's a tough job to know that you might have to get into a fight. So for us, we didn't want to glorify it, but it is part of hockey, and that's what our fans want, authentic hockey experience, just like FIFA wants an authentic soccer experience and Madden wants an authentic football experience. So it's just, we're trying to portray everything as real as possible. That's something that we always focus on. We're trying to make the game accessible for everybody so that someone can pick it up and play. Hockey does have, there's about 4 rules that if I explain it to you once, you'll understand them and go, I get it. Now I understand. And I can see the difference when you're talking about soccer or football. American football, that can be complicated for a lot of people, even us that watch it all the time. But you're right, it's a tactical thing, and there is a beauty to soccer because it's played all over the world. Hockey's played all over the world as well. I think to bring the sport to more people, we do things like we have tutorials that explain some of the rules as well as how to play. We also focused on just making it so that you can have a mode like NHL14 anniversary mode that we added this year. That has no icing and no offside, and you're just playing hockey. Once you start to enjoy the hockey part, you might want to know how to play the rules, and in that way you'll learn them, right? It's one of those things that every sport has certain rules that are lesser known. If I said tennis, everyone knows you're hitting the ball back and forth. They might not know that the outside line for a singles game is the one that's 3 feet closer than doubles. I mean, I didn't know that till I was like 12, and I watched tennis on TV. So it's one of those things it's kind of layers, right? You learn that, hey, there's a goalie, there's 5 players on each team, and they're both trying to score. Hey, that's pretty similar to football in Europe. That'd be pretty easy for people to understand. My dad was from Italy. That's what he understood. There's a goalie and players are trying to score. But offside and icing, very confusing until I grew up and explained it to him. But it's something we work on every year, and we try and focus on that part as well. But it is one of the struggles that sports do have, as every sport has a new rule that's a little different, a little unique. So